One of the most puzzling incidents in space happened on mission STS-82 to service the Hubble telescope. Astronauts Steve Smith and Mark Lee reveal that they're seeing some strange flashes as they re-enter the airlock of the shuttle.
Okay, all right, that's good. Let's go out. Oh, the flash. Hello. The light flashed off. They can see it there. What? I just thought of it in my imagination. Yeah. I saw it too, so it's flat. There was two of them. There's another one. What are they? Let me show the lights flickering in here. We're taking pictures.
Steve Smith explains what that conversation was all about.
Well, Mark and I are in the airlock at this point, and you can see from here that all of a sudden we saw a couple of lights flashing in the airlock. And when we were first asked about this conversation months later, we had forgotten about this. But anyway, I said, "Is that a light flashing, Tim?" And Mark says, "What are they?" Asking, is it a light coming from either the airlock? And Mark asks, "Are they taking pictures of us through the airlock window?" And again, they would have a flash. We take about 10,000 pictures on each flight. So all I can think of is that it's pretty hard to turn in this thing because you're like in a closet. And we couldn't tell what light it was, so I think Mark probably had turned to a certain point, and then he said, "Oh, there's the one in front of me," or something.
I was just at that one for a second, but I had that one the whole time. I was just at that one.
And I don't know what that is. I've never heard the word valence or surveillance used.
Whatever the lights were that the astronauts had seen, the transmission of their conversation appeared to be interrupted at this point.
Everything we say is basically broadcast to anybody who's listening. We have no button on our spacesuit, for example, when we're out there, that we can push just to talk to your crewmate that's spacewalking with you, or just to the people in the cockpit. We have no such button. So when we talk, it's automatically broadcast on an antenna off of our backpack out to the shuttle and then down to Earth.
Americans are not the only ones in space. The Mir space station has allowed Russian cosmonauts to break the records for the length of time spent in space. During a docking with Mir, cosmonaut Musa Manarov filmed an unidentified object that passed by.
At
some point in the filming, I caught sight of something that seemed to have separated from the ship. Moreover, it was rotating as it moved away and changing its brightness. I can't say exactly how far away it was. I can only say it was not very close, because the camera was focused on infinity. At first, it seemed to me that something had separated from the ship. But then, when I examined the ship, I realized that there was nothing that could have broken away. What's more, there were no alarms going off. Everything was calm. Later, there were lengthy arguments as to what it could possibly have been.
On another mission, Russian cosmonaut Gennady Strikalov is certain he saw an unusual, unidentified flying object in space.
It was a huge sphere. I think it appeared when we were over Newfoundland. The sea was in the background. It was shining, sparkling, of absolutely even shape. It shone like the balls that hang on trees at Christmas, greenish in color and all shimmering. It was impossible to take your eyes off it. I watched it for maybe 5 or 7 seconds, but I didn't have a camera, and if I'd gone to get one, I would have lost it. For just as suddenly as it appeared, so it just disappeared.
Okay, let's talk about what we have left here.
It's not difficult to misinterpret objects in space. This mysteriously floating sphere is actually a recently developed remote camera called an air cam. A distinguished astronaut who agrees with Jack Casher's belief in the reality of UFOs is Gordon Cooper. Now in his 80s, Cooper had a sighting while serving as a fighter pilot in Germany in 1951.
Well, the weatherman had reported seeing these objects in the sky, and various other people got binoculars and looked for them, saw them also, and they were flying formations similar to our fighter formations. And we proceeded to launch some airplanes, see if we could get up to where they were, and we could not, and gave up on it. They were higher and faster than we could go.
Gordon Cooper was so convinced that there was evidence of UFOs here on Earth that in 1978 he went to the United Nations and presented them with a letter describing his experience. If it's just an illusion that extraterrestrials have visited Earth, why does the UFO phenomenon continue to grow? Why do people continue to take pictures of unexplainable images? It is the mission of science to prove or disprove the unexplained.